Nobody at the mansion knew that the black maid they'd been ignoring for 3 years was about to save a $50 million business deal and expose shocking truths about everyone present. Before we get to this wonderful story, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Now let's get back to the story. Jasmine Washington, 28, had been working as a housekeeper at the Richardson estate in Beverly Hills, California for 3 years. Every day she cleaned the marble floors, dusted priceless artifacts, and served meals to some of the wealthiest people in America. To them she was invisible, just another black woman in a uniform who existed to make their lives comfortable. But what none of these powerful people knew was about to change everything. It was a crucial Tuesday morning when billionaire tech mogul Robert Richardson was hosting the most important business meeting of his career. Chinese investors from Shanghai were flying in to finalize a $50 million partnership deal for his artificial intelligence company. Everything had been planned perfectly, except for one catastrophic problem. "Sir, I have terrible news," announced Catherine Mills, Richardson's executive assistant, bursting into his study at 7:30 a.m. "Our Mandarin translator just called from the emergency room. Car accident on the 405 freeway. She's in surgery and won't be available for today's meeting." Richardson's face went pale. These Chinese executives were notoriously particular about communication protocols. They refused to conduct serious business through translation apps or broken English. The meeting was scheduled to begin in just 4 hours. "Get me another translator immediately," Richardson barked, pacing frantically across his Persian rug. "I don't care what it costs. Call every translation service in Los Angeles." Catherine spent the next hour making desperate phone calls. "Sir, it's impossible. Every qualified Mandarin translator in the city is either booked or unavailable on such short notice. The Chinese delegation is already boarding their plane in San Francisco." Richardson collapsed into his leather chair, watching his company's future crumble before his eyes. 3 years of negotiations, millions in development costs, and his reputation in the tech industry, all about to be destroyed because of a language barrier. That's when something incredible happened. From the corner of the study, where she'd been quietly dusting Richardson's bookshelf, Jasmine cleared her throat softly. "Excuse me, Mr. Richardson." Both Richardson and Catherine turned, surprised to even notice her presence. "I couldn't help but overhear," Jasmine said respectfully, setting down her cleaning cloth. "I speak fluent Mandarin. I could assist with your meeting." The silence that followed was deafening. Richardson stared at her as if she'd just claimed to be an astronaut. Catherine let out a nervous laugh. "Jasmine, this isn't a joke. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar international business negotiation." "I understand the gravity of the situation, ma'am," Jasmine replied calmly. "I have a master's degree in international business and linguistics from UCLA. I'm fluent in Mandarin, Cantonese, and conversational in Japanese." "You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet." Richardson's jaw dropped. "You have a master's degree from UCLA?" "Yes, sir. I graduated summa cum laude 3 years ago. I took this job because I needed immediate income to pay my student loans and support my sick mother. I've been applying for corporate positions, but—" Jasmine paused diplomatically. "But what?" Richardson pressed. "Let's just say that most companies see my name on applications and make assumptions about my qualifications." The uncomfortable truth hung in the air. Richardson realized he'd been guilty of the same prejudice for 3 years, never once asking Jasmine about her background or aspirations. Catherine checked her watch nervously. "Sir, the Chinese delegation lands in 2 hours. Even if she does speak Mandarin, we can't have a housekeeper representing the company in a boardroom." Richardson studied Jasmine intently. There was something in her posture, her articulation, her quiet confidence that he'd never noticed before. "Prove it," he said suddenly. "Say something in Mandarin." What happened next left everyone speechless. Jasmine straightened her shoulders and began speaking in perfect fluent Mandarin. "我很荣幸见到你们，我们希望这次合作能给双方带来互利共赢的结果." Richardson and Catherine stared in amazement. Even though they couldn't understand the words, they could hear the natural flow, the proper tones, and the unmistakable confidence of a native-level speaker. "What did you just say?" Richardson asked, genuinely impressed. "I said, it's an honor to meet you, and we hope this cooperation will bring mutually beneficial results to both parties." It's a respectful opening that acknowledges their status while expressing enthusiasm for partnership, exactly what Chinese business culture values. Richardson was stunned. "How do you know about Chinese business culture?" "My thesis was on cross-cultural negotiation strategies in East Asian markets. I spent a semester studying in Beijing and worked as an intern at the American Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai." Catherine looked at Richardson with growing panic. "Sir, we're running out of time. The caterers will be here in an hour to set up for lunch." Richardson made a decision that would change multiple lives forever. "Jasmine, I have a proposition. I'll pay you $5,000 for today's work, but I need you to do more than translate. I need you to be my cultural advisor. Help me navigate the nuances of this negotiation." But Jasmine's response shocked them even more. "Mr. Richardson," Jasmine said calmly, "I appreciate the offer, but I have some conditions." "Conditions?" Catherine scoffed. "You're the housekeeper, you don't get to make conditions." Jasmine ignored Catherine and looked directly at Richardson. "First, I want a proper introduction to the delegation as your international relations consultant, not as your maid. Second, I want this opportunity treated as a professional interview for a permanent position. Third, if I successfully help you close this deal, I want a written recommendation letter for my professional portfolio." Richardson was taken aback by her boldness, but also impressed. "You're negotiating with me. I'm establishing my professional value, sir. If I'm going to save your company's most important deal, I want to be treated as the professional I am, not as a charity case you're temporarily elevating." For the first time in 3 years, Richardson truly saw Jasmine, not as the invisible help, but as an intelligent, educated woman who had been significantly underemployed. "Agreed," he said, extending his hand. "Welcome to Richardson Technologies, Miss Washington. Wait until you see what happened when the Chinese delegation arrived." 2 hours later, the Chinese business delegation arrived at the Richardson estate. Led by Chairman Chen Wei-ming, the group consisted of 5 impeccably dressed executives who had flown in specifically for this meeting. They expected to meet with Richardson's top international business team. Instead, they were greeted by Richardson himself and a poised black woman in professional attire, who stepped forward and addressed them in flawless Mandarin. "Chairman Chen, welcome to Los Angeles. I am Jasmine Washington, International Relations Consultant for Richardson Technologies. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful for the opportunity to discuss our partnership." The Chinese executives exchanged surprised glances. They had not expected such cultural sensitivity or linguistic precision from Richardson's team. Chairman Chen responded in Mandarin, testing Jasmine's fluency. "Miss Washington, your pronunciation is excellent. Where did you study our language?" "I had the privilege of studying at Beijing University for a semester, and I completed an internship with the American Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai," Jasmine replied smoothly in Mandarin. "I have great respect for Chinese business philosophy and the importance of building relationships before conducting transactions." The chairman's eyes lit up with approval. In Chinese culture, showing respect for their language and customs was crucial for serious business relationships. But the real shock came when Richardson made an unexpected discovery. During lunch, while Jasmine facilitated conversations between Richardson and the Chinese delegation, Catherine pulled Richardson aside. "Sir, I did some quick research on Jasmine Washington," Catherine whispered urgently. "You're not going to believe what I found." "What do you mean?" Richardson asked, watching Jasmine effortlessly navigate a complex discussion about AI ethics and Chinese government regulations. She didn't just graduate from UCLA with a master's degree. She graduated at the top of her class. Her thesis on cross-cultural technology transfer in emerging markets was published in the International Journal of Business Strategy. She was offered positions at Google, Microsoft, and Apple. Richardson nearly choked on his wine. "She was offered jobs at Google and Microsoft. Then why is she working as my housekeeper?" Catherine continued reading from her phone. According to LinkedIn, she accepted a position at Apple 3 years ago, but the offer was mysteriously rescinded 1 week before her start date. Same thing happened with 2 other companies. Someone's been sabotaging her career. Richardson felt a chill run down his spine. Who would do that? Catherine's face went pale as she continued reading. "Sir, look at this news article from 3 years ago. UCLA graduate alleges discrimination after multiple job offers withdrawn." The article mentions that Jasmine Washington filed complaints against several major tech companies for discriminatory hiring practices. The biggest revelation was still to come. Richardson walked back to the dining room, observing Jasmine with new eyes. She was in the middle of explaining artificial intelligence applications to Chairman Chen, switching seamlessly between English and Mandarin, while displaying a depth of technical knowledge that impressed even Richardson himself. "Miss Washington," Chairman Chen said in English, "your understanding of AI integration in manufacturing is quite sophisticated. Have you worked in this industry before?" Jasmine paused, glancing at Richardson. "I have extensive academic background in technology sector analysis, and I've been observing industry developments closely." What she didn't mention was that for 3 years, while cleaning Richardson's home office, she had read every business document, every technical report, every strategic plan he'd left on his desk. She had essentially been getting a free masterclass in running a tech company. Richardson realized the incredible irony. The person most qualified to help him navigate international business had been cleaning his house for 3 years while he ignored her potential. The Chinese delegation was clearly impressed. Chairman Chen leaned over to Richardson and said quietly, "Your consultant is exceptional. We are comfortable moving forward with someone of her caliber, representing your interests." The meeting concluded with a successful preliminary agreement. The Chinese delegation committed to the $50 million partnership, with Jasmine facilitating every crucial detail of the negotiation. As the Chinese executives prepared to leave, Chairman Chen pulled Richardson aside.
Mr. Richardson, I must tell you something. We have been considering partnerships with 5 American companies. Your technical capabilities are excellent, but what convinced us to choose you was Miss Washington. What do you mean? Richardson asked. In Chinese business culture, we judge companies not just by their products, but by the quality and wisdom of their people. Miss Washington demonstrated cultural intelligence, business acumen, and professional grace that exceeded our expectations. She is clearly one of your most valuable assets. After the delegation left, Richardson sat in his study with Jasmine, both of them processing what had just occurred. Jasmine, Richardson said slowly, I owe you an enormous apology. For 3 years, I've had one of the most qualified international business consultants in the country cleaning my house, and I never even bothered to ask about your background. Mr. Richardson, I understand. People see what they expect to see. No, Richardson said firmly, that's not an excuse, that's prejudice, and it nearly cost me the biggest deal of my career. He paused, then asked the question that had been bothering him all day. Why didn't you ever say anything? Why didn't you tell me you were overqualified for this job? Jasmine's answer revealed the heartbreaking truth. Jasmine was quiet for a long moment. Mr. Richardson, do you know how many times I've tried to prove my qualifications to people? How many job interviews I've walked into where I could see the surprise and skepticism the moment I entered the room? She continued, her voice steady but tinged with years of frustration. 3 years ago, I was on top of the world. UCLA graduate, multiple job offers, unlimited potential. Then, one by one, those offers disappeared. Companies would cite budget cuts or position restructuring. But I knew what was really happening. Someone was sabotaging you, not someone, a system. When I filed discrimination complaints, I was blacklisted. Word spread through HR networks. I became difficult, the black woman who cries racism when she doesn't get what she wants. Richardson felt sick. So you took the housekeeping job because I had student loans, a sick mother, and no other options. I figured I'd work here temporarily while continuing to apply for professional positions. But after 2 years of rejections, I realized something. Maybe being invisible was actually an advantage. How so? Jasmine smiled for the first time. While cleaning your office, I learned more about running a successful tech company than I would have in any entry-level corporate position. I read your strategic plans, listened to your phone calls, observed your decision-making process. You became my unwitting mentor.
Richardson stood up and walked to his desk. He pulled out a contract and began writing.
What are you doing? Jasmine asked. I'm offering you the position of Director of International Business Development, starting salary $150,000 per year, plus equity in the company. Jasmine stared at the document. Mr. Richardson, you don't have to do this out of guilt. I'm not doing this out of guilt. I'm doing this because you just saved my company and proved you're the most qualified person for the job. The Chinese delegation made it clear. They want to work with you, not just with my company. He slid the contract across the desk. But I have one condition. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. What's that? I want you to help me audit our entire hiring process. If there are other qualified people we've been overlooking because of unconscious bias, I want to find them and give them opportunities. But the story was far from over. 3 months later, Jasmine's transformation of Richardson Technologies had become a business school case study. Under her leadership, the company had secured partnerships with firms in China, Japan, and South Korea worth over $200 million. She had also implemented the Hidden Talent Initiative, which reviewed applications from candidates who had been previously rejected. The results were astounding. They discovered and hired a brilliant Indian software engineer who had been driving for Uber, a Latina cybersecurity expert who was working at a call center, and a black former military officer with logistics expertise who had been working as a security guard. The company's diversity and revenue both increased dramatically. Business publications began writing articles about Richardson Technologies as a model for inclusive hiring practices, but the most significant moment came when Jasmine received an unexpected phone call. Miss Washington, this is Sarah Chen from Google's executive recruiting team. We'd like to discuss a senior director position with our international expansion team. Jasmine smiled. Thank you for the call, Sarah, but I'm very happy in my current position. We're prepared to offer a significant salary increase and stock options. It's not about money, Jasmine interrupted politely. I'm working for a company that values my contributions and gives me the opportunity to make a real impact. That's worth more than any salary. Word of Jasmine's story spread throughout Silicon Valley. Other tech companies began reaching out, wanting to learn about Richardson Technologies' hiring practices. Jasmine started speaking at business conferences about unconscious bias and hidden talent in the workplace. During one keynote speech, she said, "For 3 years I was invisible in plain sight. I was cleaning offices while possessing the exact skills those companies desperately needed. The tragedy isn't that I was overlooked, it's that this happens to talented people every single day." Richardson, who was in the audience, felt a mix of pride and shame as he listened to her speak. After her presentation, a young black woman approached Jasmine. "Miss Washington, I'm a recent graduate with a degree in computer science, but I've been rejected from dozens of tech companies. I'm about to give up and take a retail job just to pay my bills." Jasmine handed her a business card. "Don't give up. Send me your resume. We're always looking for talent, and sometimes the best people are the ones other companies are too blind to see. 1 year after that crucial business meeting, Richardson hosted a company celebration. Richardson Technologies had been named Best Place to Work by multiple publications, and their revenue had tripled. During his speech, Richardson addressed the entire staff. A year ago, this company was successful but incomplete. We were missing something crucial, the ability to recognize talent wherever it exists. He gestured to Jasmine, who was standing with her team of international business specialists. Jasmine Washington taught me that opportunity doesn't always come dressed in a suit and tie. Sometimes it comes wearing a housekeeper's uniform, speaking perfect Mandarin, and waiting patiently for someone to finally see its value. Jasmine took the microphone. I want to say something to everyone here, especially those who feel overlooked or undervalued. Your current position doesn't define your potential. Keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in yourself, even when others don't believe in you. She paused, looking around the room at faces that now represented multiple nationalities, backgrounds, and experiences. 3 years ago, I was invisible in this very building. Today I'm proud to say that at Richardson Technologies, everyone is seen, everyone is valued, and everyone has the opportunity to show what they can accomplish. This story teaches us that extraordinary talent often hides in the most ordinary places, disguised by our own prejudices and assumptions. Jasmine Washington spent 3 years being overlooked, not because she lacked qualifications, but because others lacked the vision to see her potential. Richardson learned that true leadership means looking beyond surface appearances to recognize the inherent worth and capabilities of every person. The housekeeper who cleaned his office had been the most qualified international business consultant in the building all along. The Chinese delegation learned that authentic partnerships are built on respect, competence, and cultural understanding, qualities that have nothing to do with race or social position. And Jasmine? She learned that patience and preparation can turn even the most frustrating circumstances into stepping stones to success. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from fighting the system, but from being so undeniably excellent that the system has no choice but to change. So ask yourself, who are the invisible experts in your life? The person serving your coffee might be a brilliant artist. Your Uber driver might be a skilled engineer. The janitor in your office might be the strategic thinker your company desperately needs. True progress happens when we stop making assumptions about people based on their current circumstances and start recognizing the unlimited potential that exists in everyone we meet.
Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know what you think of this story in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos.